As the sun began to peek over the horizon, Bret's old pickup truck rumbled into Denny's driveway. The crisp autumn air carried a sense of adventure as Denny, clutching his gear, walked out to greet his friend. They exchanged nods and greetings, both wearing rugged attire suitable for a day of hunting. When they arrived at their destination, they hopped out and collected their gear from the back of the truck. The woods lay before them with the promise of an eventful day. Together, they walked deeper into the wilderness, the sounds of their footsteps blending with the rustling of leaves and the distant calls of birds. The forest canopy above cast a dappled pattern of sunlight and shade over the forest floor. As the morning progressed, Bret and Denny found themselves in a remote area. The tranquility of the woods enveloped them as they continued to tread carefully. But soon, the calm was shattered by a low, eerie growling sound. The hunters exchanged glances, their hands inching towards their rifles. Moments later, the earth beneath them seemed to tremble as they heard something crashing through the underbrush. And then they saw it, standing no more than 30 yards away, a massive fur-covered bipedal creature at least a foot taller than either of the men. It was wild-eyed and appeared to be ravenous. They instantly knew what they must be looking at, but its grotesque matted hair and frenzied eyes painted a terrifying image, the very antithesis of the majestic, elusive creature of legends. There was something wrong with it. The creature looked sick, possibly deranged. It drooled and foamed at the mouth as it bared its large, jagged teeth. They knew there was no time to prepare their rifles. The creature was simply too close. Panicked and without a clear escape route, Bret and Denny began to run. The towering beast pursued them, driven by hunger or madness. The men could hear every thunderous, crashing footstep as the creature lumbered after them. Their only thought was to reach the safety of Bret's pickup, which stood as a beacon of hope in the distance. The creature closed in, its monstrous growls reverberating through the trees. Bret and Denny reached the truck, the door slamming shut just in time, sealing them inside. But panic set in as Bret searched frantically for the truck keys. A dreadful realization washed over Bret. The keys had been dropped somewhere in the chaos of their escape. Outside the truck, the rabid beast grew more frenzied. With terrifying strength, it began to claw and pound at the driver's side door, determined to get inside and reach the two terrified hunters. The truck rocked with the force of its relentless attack. As Bret frantically continued the hopeless search for his keys, Denny was preparing his rifle to fire. The screams of the two men were deafening inside the cab of the truck. Their worst fears were realized when the creature punched through the window, reaching its long arm and massive hand toward Bret. Just when it seemed as though the grim outcome was inevitable, a new presence emerged from the woods. Another Sasquatch, larger, more imposing than the other. The hunters immediately saw that this one was different than the other. There was a sense of calm intelligence in its eyes. It was coherent. And it wasn't eyeing the men, but instead glared disapprovingly at the first Sasquatch. The first saw the arrival of the second and roared, a sound of pure rage and madness. The new arrival made no hesitation. In a blur of movement, it seized a thick tree branch from the ground, made two gigantic strides, and struck the rabid creature with a swift, resounding blow. The ensuing battle was a brutal clash of titans that seemed to last only moments, culminating in the rabid Sasquatch's lifeless form lying at the edge of the forest. The triumphant protector watched the vanquished foe for a moment. Bret and Denny would later note that there seemed to be a hint of sadness in its eyes in that moment, before it wrapped its arms around the body's torso and retreated back into the wilderness, dragging its fallen kin. The hunters, still shaken and thankful for their deliverance, had witnessed a rare and extraordinary spectacle of nature. One Sasquatch had attempted to end their lives and another had saved them, and no one they knew would ever believe a word of it. Bret slid over to the steering wheel, brushing broken glass into the floorboard. Denny readjusted and composed himself as well. They sat there like that for a minute, neither of them speaking. A thought occurred to Bret, and he reached to a specific pocket of his coat, one he hadn't checked during the confusion. He reached in and pulled out his keys. He held them up, glancing at Denny with a sheepish grin. and then started the truck and drove away from those woods for the last time.